live here to discuss the escalation between Iran and Israel on 7th June. A massive escalation has shattered the fragile regional ceasefire. We'll discuss this topic in detail and provide you the real-time analysis and real-time footages and news to you, strongly following the YouTube community guidelines from a documentary and educational point of view. This is the real time analysis, and a massive escalation has shattered the fragile regional ceasefire on Sunday, 7th June 2026. The conflict between Iran and Israel reignited into active direct warfare, marking the first direct Iranian bombardment of Israeli territories since the April truce. This is the first bombardment of Israel by Iran. Iran has fired direct missiles towards Israel, and here is some more footages of Israel being attacked by Iran. Here are some more footages of Israel being attacked by Iran. Israel is being attacked by Iran. Here are some more footages. Now let's move to what actually basically happened is this is Iran, which has shot down a drone. Iran has shot down a drone in its airspace using its air defense systems. The latest escalation began when the Israeli Defense Forces launched a targeted strike on building in Dahiyeh, a dense regional neighborhood in southern Beirut, Lebanon. The strike killed at least 2 people, wounded 20, and came right on the heels of intense Israeli ground operations and evacuations in southern Lebanon. The Iranian response is hours after the Beirut strike. Air raid sirens sounded across northern and central Israel. And the IDF confirmed that Iran had launched a direct salvo of ballistic missiles from Iranian soil towards Israel. Hours after the Beirut strike, air raid sirens sounded across northern and central Israel. The IDF confirmed that Iran had launched a direct salvo of ballistic missiles from Iranian soil towards Israel. Shortly after the initial attack, a second barrage of Iranian missiles were fired towards Israel as well. Israeli military warned of second Iranian ballistic missiles towards Israel. Israeli air defense arrays Airbus and David Sling were heavily engaged in active interceptions over Israeli airspace, with multiple explosions reported in northern and central Israel. Simultaneously, Hezbollah confirmed it launched drone and rocket strikes against Israeli army positions in northern Israel, such as in the barracks and Dovev barracks, citing retaliation for Israeli ongoing violation of the ceasefire in southern Lebanon. Also, this is What is the context of the immediate triggers? The Lebanon issue. Let's discuss the Lebanon issue, due to which this is there is escalation between Israel and Iran. Iranian air defenses have shot down an Israeli drone over its airspaces. Iranian air defenses Iranian air defenses have shot down a drone over its airspaces, and this is the footage of the drone being shot down by Iranian air defenses over its airspace. Iran had explicitly warned that any major Israeli strikes on Beirut proper would be considered a breach of all strategic red lines, triggering a renewal of full-scale war. Israel strikes on Dahiyeh, Hezbollah's administrative stronghold, was the direct tactical trigger for Tehran's decision to launch the missile salvos. Iran military warned of Israeli military warned of second barrage of Iranian missiles towards Israel. Israeli air defenses, Arrow and Davis Sling, were heavily engaged in active interceptions. For weeks, Pakistan and other international mediators have attempted to broker a long-term peace framework in Islamabad. However, negotiations hit a wall. Iran refused to finalize any deal unless it included a guaranteed complete ceasefire in Lebanon. Conversely, Israel has insisted on maintaining its right to strike and push its ground buffer zone into southern Lebanon, rendering the diplomatic track deadlocked. Do take part in the poll as well, and we have created poll for you as well. The question in the question is that we have also question for you guys: will US join war this time too against Iran, or it will mediate between Iran and Israel? There is a poll as well. Do take part in the poll as well. This strike did not happen in a vacuum. The strikes of Iranian missiles towards Israel did not happen in a vacuum. Over the past 72 hours, maritime tensions reached a boiling point in the Persian Gulf. The IRGC attempted to intercept several commercial oil tankers operating under US military guidance in Strait of Hormuz. In response, the US engaged Iranian coastal assets, and Iran targeted US regional bases in Bahrain and Kuwait. Iran's top negotiator Mohammad Bakr Kalibaf explicitly posted on X before the missile attack that the US naval blockade and its green light for Israel's Lebanon campaign made all Western and Israeli assets legitimate targets. Tehran is intentionally anchoring its entire strategic leverage to Lebanon by launching missiles directly from Iranian soil over an attack in Beirut. Iran is demonstrating that it will not allow its prime to decouple its war against Hezbollah from its direct confrontation with Iran. With the ongoing US naval blockade and Iran's continued enforcement of its traffic separation scheme in the Strait of Hormuz, global energy markets are highly volatile. Iran is using the threat. Iran is using the threat. Iran is using the threat of a complete maritime chokehold to force the US into granting immediate economic sanctions relief as a precondition for peace. President Donald Trump recent Meet the Press interview hardened the US position, with the president asserting that no assets will be unfrozen until after a comprehensive peace deal is signed. The direct economic impasse is fueling the kinetic warfare on the ground. While Israel's air defense network remains highly sophisticated, the introduction of multi-wave direct ballistic missiles strikes from Iran, synchronized with close-range drone swarms from Hezbollah, aims to saturate and bleed Israel's interceptor stockpiles. This escalation signals that the deterrence established by the April 8th ceasefire has completely deteriorated, pushing both states back into an unpredictable war of attrition. The escalation severely undermines the back-channel diplomacy, with the US deeply embedded via its naval blockade and regional-based defenses, and third-party mediators like Pakistan finding little room for compromise between Iran's demand for immediate economic relief and Israel's security mandates in Lebanon. The conflict risks expanding past its current boundaries into a broader, prolonged regional war. So there is a breaking news that Iran rockets are heading towards Israel, and this is Iranian people who have gathered in the streets to support Iran. They are chanting slogans in favor of the IRGC and against Israel, and they are supporting their government and IRGC against Israel. You can see these footages that Iranian people have gathered in the streets in support of their government, and they are chanting slogans, and they are basically celebrating the missiles that are launched towards Israel. To understand why Iran supports the axis of resistance, let me take back to the core of why this war started. This war started again on 7th June because Israel was attacking again and again Lebanon, and Israel's stance was that Israel is justified in securing its border by attacking Hezbollah, whereas Iran said that whereas Iran said that uh, whereas Iran said that uh, whereas Iran said that Lebanon must be included in the peace deal, else Iran won't be accepting the peace deal. So with that, uh, the Lebanon front is basically what is causing uh, the issues here. The Lebanon front is causing because Israel says that they have the right to secure the borders, and uh, on the other hand, um Lebanon must be included in the ceasefire deal. This is the stance of Iran. That is because of when Israel continuously bombed Lebanon, uh, Iran then fired missiles towards Israel. And why does Iran support its axis of resistance, the PMF in Iraq, the Houthis in Yemen, and Hezbollah in Lebanon? To understand that, let's deep dive into this. To understand that why Iran is committed to backing the axis of resistance, the network that's of state and non-state actors including Hezbollah, Houthis, and Hamas, various militias in Iraq and Syria. It helps to look past the immediate headlines. Iran's support for this alliance isn't just about regional influence, it's calculated, multi layered strategy designed for survival, leverage, and ideological projection. Iran's military strategy is heavily directed by its historical vulnerabilities. Particularly its experiences during the devastating Iran-Iraq War in the 1980s. Because Iran's conventional military forces, like its air force and armored divisions, are largely outdated due to the decades of international sanctions. It relies on asymmetric warfare. So basically, Iran relies on asymmetric warfare because of the sanctions which have been on them from the international community. So they have shifted towards on asymmetric warfare. By building up powerful allies like Hezbollah, in Lebanon or militias in Iraq and Syria, Iran ensures that any potential conflict with its main adversaries, namely Israel or United States, take place away from the Iranian soils. And this is the footage of Iranian barrage of missiles towards Israel. Many of them are intercepted by Israel's Arrow and David Sling interceptors, and some of the missiles do pass through and manage to make the impact in northern and central Israel. The axis of resistance of Iran, especially Hezbollah, this axis acts as a massive deterrent. If a nation contemplates a direct military strike on Iran's nuclear facilities or homeland, they must account for the reality that Iran can instantly trigger a multi-front retaliatory response right on Israeli borders or along critical maritime trade routes. Following the 1979 Islamic Revolution, Iran constitutes explicitly mandated the export of the revolution and the defense of world's oppressed mustadafin. The core ideological pillar of the axis of resistance is opposing what Tehran views as Western, primarily US hegemony in the Middle East, and seeking the ultimate dismantlement of the State of Israel. While Iran is a majority Shia nation, its framing of the Axis as an anti-imperialist front allows it to build bridges with Sunni groups like Hamas and Palestinian Islamic Jihad to position itself as a champion for the broader Muslim world, particularly regarding the Palestinian cause. The Axis gives an undeniable seat at the table in regional and global diplomacy. Tehran uses its influence over these groups as major chips in international negotiations. By backing the Houthis in Yemen, Iran gains indirect leverage over the Bab el Mandeb Strait and the Red Sea, combined with its own geographic dominance over the Strait of Hormuz. Combined with its own geographic dominance over the Strait of Hormuz, Iran can effectively threaten or disrupt global energy supply chains and maritime commerce whatever it faces intense economic or diplomatic pressure from the West. Through its aligned factors, Iran wields significant political leverage inside the domestic governments of Lebanon, Iraq, and Yemen, making it virtually impossible to form stable coalitions or pass major legislation in those countries without accounting for Tehran's interest. For Tehran, the axis of resistance is not an optional foreign policy project. It is their primary mechanism for national defense, a vital tool for economic and political leverage, and the core identity of the Islamic Republic's global posture. This is the visuals which we are showing to you. The latest escalation. This is the drone which has been shot down by Iranian air defense systems over Iranian skies. The wreckage of the drone is seen burning. Iran-Israel tensions have escalated. 7th June 2026, this drone has been shot over Iranian skies by Iranian air defenses. The wreckage of the drone can be seen burning. We are providing you updates on the recent and escalations between Iran and Israel in real time. And we are providing you analysis from geopolitical angle as well. Iran has fired multiple barrage of missiles toward Israel. Please do take part in the comments as well and make this chat interactive. The IDF, Israeli Defense Forces, stated that its air defense arrays successfully intercepted the incoming salvos. Paramedics on the ground reported no immediate casualties or injuries from the direct Iranian fire. The IDF has stated that its air defense arrays have successfully intercepted the incoming Iranian missiles. Paramedics on the ground reported that no casualties or injuries from the direct Iranian fire has taken place. Iran has fired multiple missiles towards Israel. The situation has escalated on 7th June between Israel and Iran. IDF military spokesperson Brigadier General F.E. Defrin stated that Iran is attempting to establish a new equation by launching direct attacks on Israeli territory whenever the IDF targets Hezbollah infrastructure in Beirut's Dahiyeh district. The IDF condemned the attack as a grave mistake and confirmed that the IDF Chief of Staff General Al-Zamir is already meeting with senior commanders to approve future operational plans. As a direct safety precaution following the transit of missiles, a sweeping aviation shutdown has hit the region. Iraq has completely closed its airspace for 72 hours. Syria has closed its southern air corridors and suspended operations at Damascus International Airport, and Iran has closed the western portion of its own airspace until further notice. US President Donald Trump has actively intervened via phone calls and media statements to stop the cycle of retaliation. Speaking to journalists, Trump stated, "I am going to call Bibi right now and tell him not to retaliate. Each of them had their fun. Israel had its strike and Iran had its strike. We don't need another one." He later added in a Fox News interview directed at Tehran, "You have shot your missiles, that's enough. Get back to the table and make a deal." We are providing you analysis over the recent escalations which has taken place between Israel and Iran. Iran has fired multiple missiles toward Israel. US President Donald Trump has actively intervened via phone calls and media statements to stop the cycle of retaliation. Speaking to journalists, Trump stated, "I am going to call Bibi right now and tell him not to retaliate. Each of them had their fun. Israel had its strike and Iran had its strike. We don't need another one." He later added in a Fox News interview directed at Tehran, "You have shot your missiles. That's enough. Get back to the table and make a deal." Despite Trump's push for restraint, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is facing intense domestic pressure. Far-right members of his cabinet are demanding an immediate catastrophic response. National Security Minister Ben-Gvir posted sharply on X, "Tehran must burn tonight." This is the news which we are showing it to you. Let me repeat for the new followers of the events here again what President Donald Trump has stated. US President Donald Trump has actively intervened via phone calls and media statements to stop the cycle of retaliation. Speaking to journalists, Trump stated, "I am going to call Bibi right now and tell him not to retaliate. Each of them had their fun. Israel had its strike and Iran had its strike. We don't need another one." He later added in Fox News interview directed at Tehran, "You have shot your missiles. That's enough. Get back to the table and make a deal." These are Iranian peoples on the streets supporting their government, and the IRGC, Iranian people supporting their government and IRGC. Iranian people have Iranian people have moved to streets. Iranian people have moved to streets to support their government. Iranians are on the street supporting their government, the IRGC. This is the footage of drone which has been shot down over the This is the footage of drone which has been shot down by Iranian air defenses. US President Donald Trump has actively intervened via phone call and media statements to stop the cycle of retaliation. Speaking to journalists, Trump stated, "I am going to call Bibi right now and tell him not to retaliate. Each of them had their fun. Israel had its strike and Iran had its strike. We don't need another one." He later added in a Fox News interview directed at Tehran, "You have shot your missiles. That's enough. Get back to the table and make a deal." Despite Trump's push for restraint, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is facing intense domestic pressure. Far-right members of his cabinet are demanding an immediate response to Iran. National Security Minister Ben-Gvir posted sharply on X, "Tehran must burn tonight." This is the escalation between Iran and Israel on 7th June 2026. Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi. Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi Araghchi immediately held emergency consultations with his counterparts in Britain and Turkey, as well as Pakistani mediators who have been hosting the Islamabad talks. Tehran reiterated that it will not accept a partial ceasefire that gives Israel freedom of action in Lebanon, while expecting Iran to sit on the sidelines. The axis of resistance and the coordination between Iran and the axis of resistance. The escalation is rapidly expanding to pull in American assets. The escalation is rapidly expanding to pull in American assets. Hezbollah, a powerful Iraqi faction, Kataib, Hezbollah, a powerful Iraqi faction within the axis of resistance, issued a formal warning that all US bases and corporate interests in Iraq and across West Asia will become legitimate targets of the United States military assist Israel in counter-strike against Iran. General Ali, heading the IRGC, Khatam al-Anbiya Central Command, warned that the ball is now in Israel's court. If Israel expands its operation in Beirut or strikes Iranian soil, Iran will immediately bypass warning shots and launch a significantly more devastating and regret-inducing wave of attacks. This is it from the live stream right now. We'll return once we have more updates.